Join me as we enter the world of positivity and dreams. My name is Ramil Cueto, and this is After Dusk. After Dusk really is a conversation. It's a meaningful encounter between me and you. I like to talk about dreams, how we build a dream, how we realize a dream, and everything that goes with it. That in life, it's a meaningful journey. It's a roller coaster of things. But the most important thing is how you are in the process. Life principle is about doing what is right the best that you can, even if it's hard. This is After Dusk. Hello and welcome to After Dusk, second episode, and we're broadcasting here in Batangas City, Philippines. This is my hometown, and today I'm so grateful that my guest Julia Feng and I will be talking about the 4 steps to realizing your dream. And in this episode, we're going to try to share with you how we went through this process, what we discovered, the challenges we faced, and most of all, the joys, the benefits that we have afterwards. It's not an easy journey, but I tell you, it's fantastic, and it's quite a learning experience. So, first of all, I want to introduce to you Julia Feng. Who is she? First of all, she's my wife, and we've been married for over 16 years now. We're also business partners. We've put together a few businesses together related to learning and development, related now to ecotourism and health and wellness. She's also an accomplished business coach, executive coach, a leadership trainer, and most of all, a very, very excellent mother to our child, Juliana. So welcome to the show, Julia, and thanks for being in here.
Well, thank you for your invitation, Ramil. I'm really happy to be here, to be your guest. Yeah.
Okay.
And as your wife and also your business partner and your best friend, I'm really happy to be here to have this conversation with all the audience, talking about realizing your dream. And this topic, I think many people will be very interested because, when we live on this world, we really like to achieve something, and we wanted to live the life we like to live.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So today we're going to talk about how we, as a couple, a family, realize the dream together.
Yes, and I've discovered as soon as I get to know Julia that she's a dreamer like myself. I remember the first time I met her, maybe a second date, we talked about what we like to achieve. And one of the things I did mention to her is building a library for our community or wherever we live, and this library can be shared by people. So we're still building that library, but we're getting there. But most of all, we have sort of found joy in building things together, and I think when a couple achieve this kind of fulfillment by working together, I think it's worth sharing with you. So that's the goal today, to share with you our journey as a couple, business partner in realizing our dreams. So
Yes, we would like to tell you about our story, how we realized our dream. But meanwhile, there is a process that is embedded on everything we do. That's kind of secret. We would like to reveal to you that make you feel realizing your dream is not a dream. It can be fulfilled. Your dream can really become reality.
well, first off, let's talk about what's the dream. So it's very simple, really. As a child, as I grow up, I got to know the lifestyle of my grandparents. They pretty much stayed most of their lives in a farm, in a village. This village is Talumpok West, Batangas City. As a young person, I was visiting them quite often, and I found really this love or this idea that perhaps someday I can live in this kind of environment. And that's really the dream, to go back to that place where my grandparents lived, my maternal grandparents, and live the life they had. Of course, it's a little different now because of the modern things, but that's essentially the dream. Did I explain it well?
Yes. Yeah, actually, before I met Ramil, I have a dream, which is to be able to live in the nature. Because when I grew up, in the first 3 years, I lived in the countryside in Shanghai, and I really enjoyed living there as a young child. And I always, when I feel stressful working in Shanghai, in the big city, and if I feel stressful, I always would like to bring back that memory that I live in this countryside, or running on the rice field, I listening to the birds singing, and that was the happiest moment of my life. So I really want to realize that dream, especially after we have our daughter, and I would like her to live this kind of life. And I think the true happiness is come from the nature. That's why we start to build our dream. Yeah.
Yep. So why don't we deep dive into that dreaming process?
Sure.
We're going to talk about 4 steps. The first step really is about discovering who you are, in regard to your preference, your value system, your principles, and pretty much what you believe in. Because after all, realizing a dream is actually creating a life that you want for yourself. So
Yes.
let's talk about that.
So Ramil, what is your core value?
For me, freedom and being independent is quite important. I've learned to be more at home, being able to make a living or create something by myself. As a creative person, I like to be able to express my creativity through my writings, through singing. I'm also a poet. So the value of freedom and independence is quite on top of the list. But there are a lot of other important things, like I like to be responsible. I like to be a responsible father and a loving husband. I also like to be generous to people. I'm always seeking to be kind to others and be able to share what I have. The other thing that is important to me is fairness. I think this world we live in, sometimes it could be unfair, but it's up to us to manage that. We can still be fair.
Right.
So those are the things that are important. What about you?
For me, my core value is also freedom is number one. So I would like to live a life with a lot of freedom, which means I can decide when I work and how I make money and how I spend my time. And especially I like to have free time for myself, and I don't want to have a boss. So these are the freedom. But another core value is about family unity, which means especially after I get married, I would like the family always live together and not being separated. Yeah, so that means I need to choose, make some tough decisions. You know, in order to make the family together, I may sacrifice some good career development opportunity or some good opportunity to make good money. But so far, because of this core value, it really helped me to make decision much easier. Yeah. And it turns out it's really good decision. Yeah.
Actually, Julia has hit a very important point in regards to building a dream, especially if your dream is about your family or as a couple. Early on, we realized that there are 2 ways to do it. One, the husband goes away or the wife goes away and look for a lucrative job elsewhere. However, they're separated. Or 2, they could be together and start creating value by the things that they can produce by themselves. And in our case, we took the latter one, which is we decided to work together so that we will not be separated. Because I know separation can be very difficult, especially if you have children. So that became the foundation of really our life. And as we discover more about our strength, we found out that that's really what we like to do. Yeah.
Yes. So the first step of realizing dream is to really know yourself and discover what kind of person you are, what kind of values and beliefs that you have, and what strengths do you have?
Yeah,
what
and
kind
resources.
of skill and resources do you have?
Right.
And you need to work with your partner. You know, like for Ramya and I, we often help each other to discover what new about us. You know, especially when we discover some, you know, like the core values, we really build a common ground, and that's a solid foundation for our family, for our marriage. So the first step is really discover who you are.
That first step is quite difficult for many because maybe because by nature they are shy to express themselves. But I think for me and Julia, we've learned to express ourselves, our preference, our belief system, and to decide to work together, we have to have ground rules. For instance, respect, mutual respect is important, so that when we express our thoughts and ideas and feelings, we're not afraid that we're going to be torpedoed by criticism or branding. So we allow ourselves to be able to share ideas and feelings by having that respect. And in addition to that, I think having a defined role and responsibility in the partnership is important.
Yes.
And always encouraging each other to grow continuously and be able also to exercise some space if we need to. So these are the things that we discovered about ourselves, that we need to have space when we need that.
Yes.
And we need to have a clear set of roles and responsibilities, and then always encouraging ourselves to find our potential.
Yeah, so in practice, the couple need to allocate a time to talk about these very important things. And you cannot just always be busy on your work, on your child, and the couple really need to sit together, maybe once a week, to talk about this. And like if we need to give each other some feedback, you know, to help each other to discover what else they have, what other traits and characteristics that we haven't discovered. So that's a really very interesting journey with your partner, because you constantly help each other discover more and more treasure that is within that person, you know. So this will make the couple relationship even better. So
that's the first step.
First step,
Discovering yourself, your partner, your friend, or somebody you want to build this dream together. Let's go to the second step.
Okay.
The second step is creating. So we're building a dream as a couple. And you can be building a dream with your business partner, but in this context, we're talking about building a dream as a couple.
Right.
So the second step for us is creating that common dream, creating that shared dream. And as I did mention earlier, that dream is to be able to live in a farm setting, in a natural setting, in a village setting, as opposed to being in the city or in the suburb. As a matter of fact, the picture, the background you see is actually our dining hall. And so we are very, very close to nature, and we hear birds and insects and all that, and getting fresh air and sunshine every day. So the second step is creating that common dream, that shared dream.
Yes.
So how do you do that? What happens?
So the second step actually is very high energy step, and it's very inspiring because we become the creator, we become the designer. We need to create the future for ourselves. And we started from again, it's conversation, but this part is we're going to do the visualization. So we talk, and meanwhile we will draw, you know, what's the future will look like. What's the ideal future look like for you? So the important thing here is you must dream the ideal case, not to dream about mediocre, average case. Because what you want, you will always get what you want. That's like it's the law of attraction. Right. So you rather dream big, and so you attract the big thing, right? The most ideal thing for you. So for us, for our dream is we like to live in nature. We like to have self-sufficiency, which means we can eat vegetable we grow, and we can have fresh air, and then we can have very comfortable living utility. Yeah, it doesn't mean we have to live very poorly. Yeah, so everything must be the ideal case. And then we will draw, like Ramil, he likes to do the sketching. So he would draw the layout of our farm. Yeah, so as detailed as possible, as if it's happening. Yeah, that's the key. Yeah.
Right, and so I draw, I sketch, I discuss with Julia, I share it with other people. I have this habit of sharing to friends what I like to achieve, and it usually takes a few years or so to make it happen. But the important thing in creating the shared dream, you have to express it. You can sing it, you can become a poem, it can become a sketch. You take inspirations to people, to things you see, how people live, but actually those inspirations will help you create your own. Because the idea here is you don't copy, you don't conform. By nature, we're not conformists, so we always find it difficult sometimes to achieve things, but we get it anyway. We get it anyway. First try, second try. I remember and we're going to talk about it later. In the beginning, we were living in kubos, bahay kubos.
Yes.
So we bought 3 bahay kubos because that's all we can afford. And that's an idea, that's the beginning.
So the second step, we're dreaming about the most ideal case, right? So we don't worry about that we don't have enough money, or we don't have the resources, we don't have the land. All those barriers looks like your dream will not be realized. So on the second step, let's be careful not to be dragged by those negative thoughts. Let's only focus on the positive side, what we really want. And as Ramil said, we start to share our dream with others. So one thing's good, what we did is we involve our daughter. We will show her the painting, the picture. We will ask her, would you like to add on something from, your perspective as a child, young child? What would you like to see happen here in this farm? Yeah, so she will tell us, she would like to have the running track, so every morning she can run, or we can build a tennis court, so she can play tennis. So that's a very good thing. But another thing is about involving other people's opinion is that some people will tell you, this dream is too big. You don't have money. You're not going to realize it. So be careful not to share with these kind of people, because they will discourage you at the beginning. So let's be very conscious. Just have this insulation. Make sure you only share the people who really appreciate your dream and who can encourage you. Do you feel that way?
Well, I do, because there's always 2 sets of people, one who will encourage you and one who will discourage you. So if you're a dreamer and you really want to achieve something, you want to gravitate with people who will encourage you and give you support, as opposed to those people who will drag you down. So it's just life, People have different perspectives. People always look at things differently. So for our case, we're blessed to have each other, and then we have created this path towards realizing a dream. And then we're also surrounded by friends and families who will appreciate it.
Yes.
So that's how it goes.
Yeah, so the second step, in summary, is you must visualize it. And not just to put the picture. You can also, if you say, I cannot sketch, that's okay. You can find those pictures. You can do some paper clipping, put the different image together and make a nice board. And you put the board on your wall. You can see it every day. Every night before you go to sleep, you just rehearse in your mind as if this is happening already. Yeah.
Very good. So we've covered 2 steps, and we're going to pause for a few minutes and come back to you with the last 2 steps in realizing your dream. We'll be right back.
Okay, see you.
Join me as we enter the world of positivity and dreams. My name is Ramil Cueto, and this is After Dusk. After Dusk really is a conversation. It's a meaningful encounter between me and you. I like to talk about dreams, how we build a dream, how we realize a dream, and everything that goes with it. That in life, it's a meaningful journey. It's a roller coaster of things. But the most important thing is how you are in the process. Life principle is about doing what is right the best that you can, even if it's hard. This is After Dusk. Join me as we enter the world of positivity and dreams. My name is Ramil Cueto, and this is After Dusk. After Dusk really is a conversation. It's a meaningful encounter between me and you. I like to talk about dreams, how we build a dream, how we realize a dream, and everything that goes with it. That in life, it's a meaningful journey. It's a roller coaster of things. But the most important thing is how you are in the process. Life principle is about doing what is right the best that you can, even if it's hard. This is After Dusk. Welcome back to After Dusk with Ramil Cueto, and I'm so glad today to have Julia, who's also my wife, as my guest. Before we go on, I just want to thank my friends who sponsored this episode. I want to thank friends from City Mart, especially Mark Go. Thank you for your support to making this program possible. I want to thank also friends from Philra Aircon, Mr. Raul Conanan, and also from Caboose. Again, Raul Conanan and Gilbert Rosales. I want to thank you. I want to thank also Nilo Atienza from Shalom Laboratory. And also our friends from Vidor Trading, the supplier of hardware here in Batangas City that we have been buying our things. So we've just finished talking about the first two steps in realizing a dream, which are discovering who you are, your strength, because these strengths and your principles will guide you, right. Your steps and the decisions you make, and the challenges you face along the way. And the second step, of course, you start crafting what that dream looks like, and by crafting, you have to explain it, you have to share it, you have to sketch it, you have to sing it sometimes. If you don't draw or anything, you can put things together, take a picture.
Right. Yes.
So for this continuation, I want to talk about the third step in building that dream, realizing that dream, and that is to start designing the path towards that dream. So what are the essential elements really that you have to consider to be able to achieve what you want? So if you become a doctor, if you want to become an architect, if you want to become a renowned pianist, so what are the various steps? What are the elements, the pathways you have to take to make that happen? So in our case, our dream is to be able to live in a farm setting, yep, with lots of birds and lots of trees and fresh air and sunshine, and be able to plant. So, so what are the, when we were talking about this dream, what are the essential elements that we thought we need to be able to achieve that dream?
Yeah, so for the step is that now we know the B, right? But we're in A. We want to move from A to B, which is to realize our dream here. Right. So now the third step is to really carefully design how we get from A to B.
Right.
So there could be many ways, right, to reach the B, but we need to look at what we have already, what kind of resources we have, which can help us to reach the B very cost effectively.
All
yeah.
Right.
Especially, most of people will say, I don't have money. How can I realize my dream? Especially it's a big dream, right? And the same case for us. we don't have money when we started to build this beautiful future picture. We don't have enough money.
Right.
So then we start to talk about it, and we need to carefully design certain paths from A to B and to finally get there. So Ramil, maybe you can tell us the story, how we realized it from A to B. Now we are in B.
Okay. Well, the fortunate discovery, the very good discovery about this dreaming is that initially we were looking for a piece of land where we want to be, but we discovered that we can start with the land that our grandparents gave us as an inheritance. So it became the focal point for us. Now we have a land which is rather wild and not developed. So in designing your pathway to realizing your dream, so we went through that process, and the first thing we thought was, okay, there's no electricity, there's no water, there's no fence and all those things. So to be able to build a place where you can live comfortably, we started determining these little things that are important to us. So water, electricity, security, fence, and then as Julia mentioned, since we don't have that much money, so we initially bought 3 kubos by kubos, and then we built a separate kitchen, and then a separate bathroom, and a garage, because eventually we're going to have a car, so we need to put things in. So the idea here is that as we go through the process, we are already organizing ourselves to achieve it based on that picture that we have developed. So the step 2 is quite important. You have a picture of where you want to be, what you want to achieve, and then as you build the path to that picture, it becomes a little easier. Yeah.
So at the third step, many people will stop because they're scared. They don't have the money, they don't have resources. In our case, we don't have land. We don't even have the skill to live on the farm.
Yeah. It's not easy.
So here we need to apply our positive psychology. We need to look at what we have already. So we already have a land. That's one thing. Second, we have some money, not a lot, but we can be resourceful. So when I found out, actually, you have kubu. You can live in this nicely built bamboo house. Rather, you spend lots of money to build a big villa. So we find that we can gradually get to very close to where we like to live. Although it's not the ideal yet, right? It's just a bamboo house, very small kitchen, very small bathroom, but it can support us to live on the mountain already. Yeah.
The advantage of that for us is that we don't have to commit a lot of resources to building something, because we're still quite new in the village and quite new in this kind of living. So I think what we're trying to do is gradually discover how really it's possible to make this living that we want realizable and possible. So in going through your dream realization, you don't have to really take big steps immediately. You can have small steps, test the process, test the results, evaluate and talk about it, and then if it's good, then you can amplify and you can multiply. This is what's happening with us, right?
Yes, yeah. So you need to have a good eye to identify what's available there already. Yeah, and you can be very creative to find those resources you need and find the knowledge, skill you need. Then you can gradually take a little action here and there. So you make sure you are moving forward to your destiny, your final dream. Yeah.
So build that pathway to realize your dream. Take stock of your strengths and resources. Make use of whatever you have. Put it in there in your plan. Make your plan, test your plan if it's going to work. Of course, if it involves spending money, you can canvas, you can ask for proposal, how to build a water system, how to build a fence that is suitable for you. So you can do a lot of things, you know.
Right.
The important thing is you don't commit right away to doing something because it may not be what you want. So that's why the third step is important, to start creating that roadmap that you can use when you're ready to take action.
Right. Yes.
If you are very particular with, say, security, you know, you might want to put fans or cameras in your location, etc. So this process of building that pathway is rather important.
Yes, and it's progressive, which means you don't just take one step to reach your destination, right? It took us 3 years at least, and even more, more years for us to learn, to engage people, and to develop our team to really do the bigger construction. Like you see, this is our dining hall, right? And it's beautiful. And we just did it last year. We just finished building this last year. And we also got hit by the pandemic. We didn't have income, but we didn't stop developing this place. We keep going, keep going until we reach the final goal.
All right. So let's go to the exciting part, the last part. So you're ready, you have this picture of your dream, you have the pathway, the things you're going to do. Now the last step is taking action. This is where a lot of dreamers would probably fail because they don't go through the process of really realizing it. And to be able to do that is you have to do the necessary steps. So we went through, we start building, we start improving, we start discovering the things that work for us and don't work for us. And in most cases, we make mistakes.
Right.
Mistakes, for instance, is wrong design or not enough materials, not the right people to put in place. So you know, when you start building, you have all these challenges. But the good news is real learning happens when you started getting your hands dirty.
Yes.
Well, we can speak that for ourselves. If your ideas is just in the paper, that's just there. But when you're starting to move and make it happen, that's when you really learn. And you learn that things are not straightforward. It's not a straight road. There's a lot of mistakes you need to correct. There's a lot of there's challenges in communicating. Even the simplest goal can be complicated because that's the nature of life. You know, we're not always understood the way we want to be understood.
Yes. Yeah.
So
the last step is about taking action. So as Ramil said, if you don't take action, then nothing's going to happen because nobody would do it for you. So we really learned a lot. Like I'm learning doing planting vegetables by myself, and I really got to know different plants, their nature. They like a sun, they like a shade. And so you really get your hands dirty. And that's where you learn. But many people, they don't take action. Why? What do you think? Why people don't take action?
Well, for most part, you feel that you're not ready. It's not the right time. I mean, like in the case of what we're doing, we got hit by the pandemic, as everybody did. So they would postpone, or they may think that they don't have enough resources. So there's always something lacking. And that's why people would stall. But you can always push little by little. You don't let go, you don't give up. If you really want to learn how to be a doctor, you want to learn Spanish as a fluent speaker as you dream, you know, you will only achieve it if you take action. You know, take a teacher. If you go through the videos teaching Spanish, for instance. So taking action is really where it's the most important part of the game.
Yes, yeah. So from the neuroscience perspective, when we try to do something new, our brain will produce this resistance. And it's the same for everybody. So, because when you try to do something new, you will feel very uncomfortable because you have to change your mindset, which means it's like a rewire your brain, your neural path. So that make you feel uncomfortable. And then also together with some fear, because you try something new. Are you afraid of you will fail? People will laugh at you. Are you afraid that you will lose all the money? You know, there's a lot of fear there. So the key is really take a very small step, which you feel you're comfortable. You can overcome that resistance. Yeah. However small, break that action to very, very small step. Then you have the resource, you have the time, you have the courage that you can take that first step. So once you take that first step, the second step, you will know it. You will know what is your second step.
Yeah.
And then you gradually become very courageous. And you will, take the step by step until you firmly, steadily reach your final goal.
Fear is always going to be a factor. We're just afraid of the unknown, the steps we're going to make, if it's going to succeed. It's always going to stop us.
Yes.
But be courageous, test your ideas, work with your partner. There's a lot of benefits and joys that you would experience when you are realizing your dream. Even the simplest of for instance, achieving something in a way you want to, you can celebrate it. And one of the things that is really important to me and Julia is that we always celebrate successes, small, in between.
We actually
big.
celebrate the failure too.
We celebrate failure.
Yeah.
Because in failure is where you learn to avoid future mistakes. And failure is where you realize that you need to do more planning, you need to do more studying of the things that you're going to do and build. Failure is not failure per se. It's a way towards realizing what needs to be done properly.
Yeah, celebrating failure, at least you acknowledge that you tried, you you took that action, right?
Yeah.
And the results sometimes may not be good, but sometimes you cannot control everything, all the variables. But just be acknowledging yourself that you have tried very hard, and you learned. Yeah, that's your game. You will never lose. Don't be afraid you will lose, but you always gain. You always get something useful for you and for your future. Yeah.
Right. So taking action, that's quite important, and keep steady, because as you do things, you'll be facing challenges and problems. So just keep steady, find solution, be solution oriented.
Yes.
Communicate your goals to the people you work with. Make sure that everybody understands what you're trying to achieve, especially if it's a team effort. And we also discovered then that it's important to create a culture of trusting, a culture of being result oriented, a culture of appreciating each other. So this dreaming process actually leads us to an important lesson that in living, we can achieve things in a more exciting way, in a more positive way, in a more energizing way. When we work with people with appreciation and celebration. So
Yes.
that's
So
what we
the
discovered.
process of realizing your dream is a fun journey. You will discover yourself much more than you just doing nothing. And then secondly, it's also a journey to develop yourself as a leader, a true leader. Yeah. So like in this journey, Ramil, you may share with people how you become a leader.
Sure. When I'm not a builder myself, but I like to think that you can learn it. So we did try. So one of the challenges of leading a building project is that you want people to truly understand what you're trying to do. So first you talk about the big picture, and then you break this big picture into smaller projects, and making sure they are tied together. And then we have 3-4 teams doing different aspects of the project. It becomes a little bit challenging. So to me, having a clear vision, having a big picture thinking, communicating what you want to achieve with your team is the first step of being a leader. Have that clarity and make sure that they understand it.
Yes.
Because if they, the sad part is you thought you got understood, but if they didn't, they still will produce something else.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yeah, I think we can talk more about the leadership skill building. Yeah, but this is surely lots of skill is built in this change process, in this realizing your dream process. And once you know how, you can lead your team, lead your company, your organization to go through this change process. Yeah.
So that's pretty much what we like to talk to you about today, and I'm really happy that Julia was kind enough to be here today to help me, help me share with you the process we took in realizing our dream. So if you have any comments, if you have any questions, ideas, do let us know. We can be contacted by our messenger, via my phone number and other things, and other ways we can have a conversation.
Yes, really thank you, Ramil, for giving me this opportunity to talk to our audience here directly. And I'm very happy as a Chinese living in the Philippines to be able to contribute my knowledge and my thoughts, and hopefully our today's conversation will inspire you, inspire the couples to really work on your dreams and to realize your ideal dreams, your true dreams, and become your true self and become a leader. And we hope to see you again next time.
All right. So as parting, I want to thank Balisong Online Radio and their team for making this episode possible, and our sponsors, Caboose, Philro Aircon, City Mart, and Shalom Laboratory. We'll see you next time.
Thank you all. Bye.
Join me as we enter the world of positivity and dreams. My name is Ramil Cueto, and this is After Dusk. After Dusk really is a conversation. It's a meaningful encounter between me and you. I like to talk about dreams, how we build a dream, how we realize a dream, and everything that goes with it. That in life, it's a meaningful journey. It's a roller coaster of things, but the most important thing is how you are in the process. Life principle is about doing what is right the best that you can, even if it's hard. This is After Dusk.